Actually, does this work?
No.
So if I tap the microphone, it seems to do something, but I think the audio of this microphone is very low. So I guess if I hold it up and talk like this, I can hear it okay? Alright, let's try it. Thank you. Okay, so for all of these applications, I think machine learning is our best technique for building all of these applications, but it's a lot of work to get algorithms to work, and each of those lines is easily anywhere from 6 months to 2 years of work for anywhere from half a dozen to 50 engineers. So is there a way to make learning algorithms easier to use and also make them perform better? In this talk, I'm going to illustrate most of these ideas using images and audio to start because it's easier to talk about. But the ideas are general and also apply to other topics. And towards the end, I'll say a little bit about natural language and text as well. So, why is it hard for a computer to look at this image and figure out what it is? It seems so obvious what that is. How could a computer possibly fail to figure that out? Zooming into a small part of the image, where the little red square is, where you and I see a motorcycle, a computer sees this. This is a grid of pixel intensity values. So the computer vision problem is to look at all those numbers and to say that those numbers represent the exhaust pipe on the motorcycle. It seems like a very hard problem to do that. In the machine learning world, when guys like me talk about machine learning, we usually say, we'll take the data, take the image, feed it to the learning algorithm, and let the learning algorithm figure it out. But this isn't how learning algorithms actually work in practice. So this actually doesn't work that well for most times. To explain why, let's take a couple pixel locations, and I'm going to plot that image on this chart, where that image has a relatively dark pixel 1 and a relatively bright pixel 2, and so that motorcycle image appears at that position on the plot. Let's do this for a different motorcycle image. There's a bright pixel 1 and a dark pixel 2, so it appears to the lower right. And if I do this for a couple of non-motorcycle images as well, I may get that. If I do this for more positive and negative examples, for more motorcycle and non-motorcycle images, what I might get is a lot of examples that are very jumbled together. And if you feed this as data to your learning algorithm, it's very difficult for your learning algorithm to figure out what is and what isn't a motorcycle. So what is actually done in computer vision is, rather than feed the raw pixels to the algorithm, we usually instead try to come up with an intermediate representation known as a feature representation, and it is that which we feed to the algorithm. In this illustrative example, if we could write a piece of software to tell us whether or not an image has wheels in it, and if we could write a piece of software to tell us whether or not an image has handlebars in it, then your data set would look much more like what's on the lower right-hand corner, and it then becomes much easier for an algorithm to separate out the positive examples and the negative examples, to distinguish what is and what isn't a motorcycle. But the story doesn't end there, because we don't actually know how to write software to tell us whether or not there are wheels or whether there are handlebars in the image. So what is actually done in computer vision is people write software, very complex, opaque pieces of software, to try to capture vague statistical properties in the image. And so, say more about that in a little bit. But so this idea of computing features is pervasive in machine learning, where for images, you have to come up with vision features, for audio, you have to come up with audio features, and for text, you have to come up with natural language features. Given that the feature representation is the primary lens, there's a primary prism through which our algorithm sees the whole world, it gives the feature representation a certain importance, and you have to ask where do these features come from. So in computer vision, the state-of-the-art answer for where you get features from is there have been teams of tens or hundreds or thousands of computer vision researchers that have spent decades, large fractions of their lives, time engineering vision features. The image on the upper left, SIFT, S-I-F-T, that's a screenshot I grabbed from the SIFT paper which is the most widely cited paper in computer vision in the last 15 years. And this is one piece of software for computing features for computer vision. I know the author, friends with the author, David Lowe, and it took David literally 10 years to come up with the SIFT algorithm. And I've read the SIFT paper maybe 5 or 6 times by now. And to this day, I still have no idea what the algorithm is doing. And the reason is, David Lowe had taken 10 years to fiddle with the pseudocode, to move pieces of code around, change parameters around, until 10 years later, he wound up with this very complex piece of software that computes very useful features, but it was very difficult to understand what it's doing. And that's how you get the best features for vision. How about audio? How do you